Hello, pup parents, and welcome to today's episode of the Perfect Pup Podcast. My name is Devin. This is an important episode. From time to time, I'll do more opinion-based episodes or experience-based episodes and less on the technical or dog training or, nutrition or, getting experts on. Sometimes I just like to talk about my experience and how I have come to find that there can be real challenges with our dogs. And there will be times in your life with your dog that your dog will drive you crazy. And I don't know how to say it any other way than that, but there will be times where you'll be stressed out. You'll be so bothered with what your dog is doing or how they're behaving or things that they do or whatever it might be. I'm going to talk about some tools and ideas that I've used personally that have helped me when my dog is driving me crazy. So let's get right into it. I think like most things in life, in the heat of the moment, it's very easy to get bothered. It's very easy to get frustrated and to become impatient with our dogs. But as much as we can to mitigate those situations from popping up, the better. But I want to talk about three things that I've done when my dogs start to drive me crazy. I will say this. Just like you, I love my dogs so much. They are so meaningful to me. They are a very important part of my life. They are part of my family. Like, truthfully, that's how I feel about my dogs. But that does not change the fact, just like with other relationships in our lives, there will be times where they are going to do things that just make you go a little bit crazy and make you very, very frustrated and feel like overwhelmed. You don't know what to do. And this is what I've done to combat that. So the first thing, and this is more of a in the heat of the moment, your dog's doing something wild, or, you're sitting at your desk, you work from home maybe, and you're trying to focus and get stuff done, and your dog is whining at you, or you look over and they're ripping stuff up, or whatever it might be. Pick the problem behavior. The situation remains the same. I have found, and this is more of like a life thing and not just dog specific. Sometimes you just need space. If you approach the moment with your dog where you're already bothered, potentially upset, definitely feeling impatient, and you want to just try and like fix the situation right away, probably not going to have the best results. So I've found it very important for me to find times when your dog is just like driving you up a wall, get some space from your dog. Truthfully, and that is why things like crate training or place training or just, using baby gates, X pens, whatever it might be, that's why there's value in those things. Obviously, it's a safety thing in a lot of cases, but there will be situations where you just need to put your dog maybe in their crate. Don't treat it as a punishment. Again, you're not gonna, if they're doing something, you're not gonna throw them in there or force them in there. But with correct crate training principles, you can get them to go in there, have their own space, and kind of let them wind down and let yourself wind down. Because again, this is a life thing. We all know in the heat of the moment, we make poor decisions very frequently. So just getting some space from your dog and getting space from whatever they're doing, and giving both parties time to just kind of decompress. So valuable. The next thing I like to do after that, or sometimes in conjunction, depending on what the situation is specifically, is I've found it very helpful to just do something fun. And what I mean by that is, you might be in the middle of a training session and you might be starting to get frustrated, or it feels like your dog isn't listening to you, or whatever it might be, or your dog acted out. Do something fun. Find, what your dog enjoys. What's good for them. Do something that does not have any like behavior thing tied back to it. Even if it just means, grabbing 5 toys and just throwing them all across the house and letting your dog go chase after them, and, doing something to try and kind of reconnect with your dog on a level of, this is why we're together, if that makes sense, right? Like, I think all of us in our mind, we have this kind of grand idea of what we want to do with our dogs, how we want them to behave, like what we envision, taking them out to fun places, going on cool hikes, all the things, all the reasons that you potentially wanted a dog, kind of giving yourself an opportunity to like reconnect with your dog in that moment and say, this is why, like, this is the why. Let's play some tug. Let's do some fetch. Let's do some trick training if that's what it is, right? Like, just finding something that's fun for both you and your dog to do together that is going to hopefully dispel the moments of you being driven kind of mad. So that's the second thing. The third thing, and I think this is the most important in all reality, is to make a plan. Oftentimes, here's an example of my own life. I'll go walking. One of my dogs, Sunny, has kind of digressed with her leash training, and I don't really think about it because it's not that bad, but it's starting to become, there's enough moments where I'm like, wow, that's not a good behavior, or that's not really how I want her to behave. And in the heat of the moment, when I'm out on a walk on the busy streets, around other dogs, around other people, snacks on the ground, whatever it might be, it's very easy to just get frustrated in that moment. And so it comes down to taking a step back, when you get home or whatever it is, if that's the situation is, leash behavior, and making a plan and saying, okay, these are the things that are typically causing me frustrations with my dog. What am I going to do to work on those behaviors before they're actually happening and starting to drive me crazy? Because what I found for myself personally, again, this is my experience and opinion, is most of the time, the things that do drive me crazy, I'm not doing enough to actually improve. Like, I'm not doing enough to be proactive and improve so those situations stop happening with my dog's behavior. And I'm just kind of letting them happen. And when they do, you get frustrated or become impatient. So I think it's a good idea to identify exactly, what are the things that typically cause you to get in this feeling of like, man, my dog is just driving me wild. I'm getting really frustrated. This is overwhelming. And saying, okay, it's these two behaviors, or it's this situation, and making a plan, using resources that are available. There are so many that are available, but I will tell you, all of them will take time. And so you have to find the time, make a plan to say, okay, I'm going to work on leash training at least for 10 minutes, 2 days this week, or, 5 minutes for 3 days this week. Setting tangible goals. Again, you can find other content about how to set SMART goals, but making a plan, having some goals to go along with it. And I don't think it's necessarily imperative that you have the goals be, oh, my dog will not pull on a leash by this date, but more of, this is the amount of times I'm going to train. This is the methods I'm going to try. This is how I'm going to do it. This is where I'm going to do it. This is when I'm going to do it. And having some accountability there. It's so, so important. And in the long run, it's going to help you have less situations where your dog kind of, can maybe overwhelming you. So I do want to add one more point here of, if you're listening, watching this, and you're just feeling like, wow, I don't know why I got a dog. I don't know why I got a puppy. This is way too overwhelming. I'll tell you, those moments will continue to happen. And in my experience, they decrease over time, often because behavior improves. You work on training, your dog gets a little more mature, all those things that go along with it. But it is important to remember that it's okay to have those feelings. It's okay to be feeling like you maybe made a mistake, or you feel like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to overcome it. But hopefully these 3 ideas will help you to find not only solutions in the long run, but also a way to kind of cope with it right in the moment. So quick recap, the first thing I like to do is get some space for my dog. It is a necessity in many instances. The second thing is do something fun. Reconnect with your dog. Do something that they enjoy and you enjoy together, and it'll help you kind of have hopefully that clarity of, right, this is what's important to me. I love my dog. This is what I'm working towards. And then the third thing is to make a plan. You've got to make a plan, set some goals, set aside time and say, this is what I'm going to do. Use the resources, the Pupford app, the Pupford website. I'm very biased. Obviously, I work at Pupford, but there are so many resources there, of which a lot of them are free. Yes, we have Pupford Academy, and it will give you a deeper dive into certain courses. And I highly recommend those courses, and I use them frequently and I love them. But there are so many free resources that are available to you to help you make this plan and overcome the problem behaviors. So I hope you found this episode helpful. If you know someone who is struggling with their dog right now, or their dog is maybe kind of driving them up a wall, please share this episode with them. I would really appreciate it. And hopefully they would enjoy it as well and find some helpful information. If you have not, please leave a review, especially on Apple Podcasts. It's very helpful, very important, and I very much appreciate it. But other than that, we will catch you on the next episode.